Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. Today is Hump Day Wednesday. Oh my gosh, I was so saddened this morning to see that Val Kilmer passed away. You guys remember him from like Top Gun, Batman Forever? He was only 65 years old. Aw, I liked him. So unfortunately, cancer. I think it was throat cancer. Let me just double check here. Give me one quick second. But gosh, I woke up this morning to see someone send me a message about that, and I was so disappointed. So sad. Still young. 65 is, my gosh, plenty young still. Yeah, sad state of affairs, huh? All right, well, I hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, there's always, I suppose, sad news about the place. And what can we do about it? My goodness. I liked him. You're starting to feel old now when you think about things like Top Gun. Man, when did that movie come out? I don't know, but I feel like it was a good hot minute now. We're getting up there, folks. And on the one hand, it's a blessing to people to say that you're getting up there because so many people don't get to see 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. But on another hand, you're like, whoa, honey child, time is ticking. Everybody good? How's everybody this morning? All right. We got TCCP coming on for their time today, their paid time. Yes, come on through. We'll be talking with them here in a minute. I don't know exactly what time they're actually coming on. But in the meantime, we do have lots to talk about, lots to discuss. So let me grab the links. Ooh, before I forget. Good morning, Instagram. How y'all doing, honey child? Give me 1 second. We're going to talk about Hot Mess McKeever. I feel like I need to rename him. That man is such a hot mess. It's not even funny anymore. Oh, it's never been funny, to be quite frank and honest. But anyway, he's getting hotter and hotter of a mess as he sees the writing on the wall that the West Bay West people are getting smarter by the minute and they're wise to his antics. You know, the young people, he doesn't fool them quite as much. So, honey child, give me 1 second here. I'm just going to post up a little something about Val Kilmer. Oh my gosh, that's my little friend. Well, I never knew him, to be clear, but I liked him. All right, so give me 1 quick second. I'm also going to grab the links for everyone. I see Ozzy is nice and early to class this morning. Good morning, brother Ozzy. Cousin Ozzy is here. Buenos dias. Coming through. And then we're just going to wait on Mr. Robert to come on through. And then, yes, we're going to get class started. All right. Un momento, clase. Un momento, por favor. Buenos dias. Reminds me of my Spanish teacher. He was so funny. He was a Cuban guy, one of my Spanish teachers. I did have a female. I can't remember. I think I had her for Spanish level 2 or 3 or something. But first time I had Spanish, I had a male teacher, and he was very, very interesting, traditional Cubano. And he would sit there in class and make us memorize stuff. And we had to stand right in front of him and have a conversation. It was kind of interesting. This was like middle school, 7th grade. And he would be like, no, clase. That's not how you say that, Miss Sandra. Dime otra vez, por favor. And I was like, oh, man. Senor, I cannot remember his name now. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue still. It'll come to me one day. But I remember him with his little glasses, Very good teacher, though. Practice is, you gotta speak a language to learn a language. So he always made us speak it as much as possible. And then when I was in high school, I took it again. I remember we actually had a native Spanish speaker in class. I still don't know why she was taking Spanish, because obviously she was from Peru, I think. And I'm like, why are you here? It was her first, they had just moved to America. So maybe she was thinking, hey, at least there's one subject I'm really going to get an A in. Cecilia was her name. I'll never forget. I don't know why I remember her name. Anyway, we had 1 year together. Cecilia Garin was her name. And Cecilia and I used to hang out. We used to go to the tennis court together. We used to play together at tennis time. And Cecilia went on to the military. She became a dentist in the military. She was very, very smart. Oh my God, totally smart. So during that class, by the time I got to high school, we had to speak Spanish. Like there was 1 day a week, I think it was 1 day a week. But anyway, we had to spend the first portion of class talking to each other, but we could only speak in Espanol. So it was very, very interesting again, because, we would be like telling our friends what we did the night before, like if you watch TV, la televisión, whatever, and you could only habla en Espanol. And I was like, oh my God. There were some days I was flipping through the dictionary, trying to find the right word. I was like, oh man, I know what I want to say, but I don't know, But my Spanish actually at one point got really good. I used to dream in Spanish. Now that you're truly bilingual. And I wouldn't say I was truly bilingual, but I was pretty good at one point. Had I continued, and if I moved to a Spanish country, I'll pick it back up. But when you speak in another language, when you dream, in another language, that's when you got it. Yep, you're truly bilingual when you can dream multilingual. So yes, I've had a couple dreams in Espanol. Mm-hmm. So interesting. Where's Mr. Robert? Ozzy, call your cousin. Tell cousin to come on through. And for the rest of us, in class, it was just a very, very good experience. I still am going to learn it. I'm trying to teach Gigi some words and stuff, because she studies it and she has Spanish in school. And so I need to speak more with her and make her practice. And I would love for her to be completely fluent. Yes. It's a good skill to have, to be bilingual or even multilingual. He's out sick. Oh no, I had a question for him. I need him here today, actually. See if he can at least do a phone call so I can ask him a question. We won't keep him the whole time, but we need to talk to him. Mm-hmm. It's serious. So we do need him for at least 5 minutes to explain something. Thank you, honey child. Yes, please ask. And I'll once he answers the question, I'll explain to you guys why, even on a sick day, I need him to be here. There's so much foolishness circulating at the moment. I got to tell you the truth. That I'm here to address it all. McKeeva was sending out a voice note yesterday. Oh, he didn't go to the chamber forum and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. I was like, dude, you didn't go. You tendered your apologies. I don't know if the people will believe you, but whatever. You didn't go. So you'll just, Miss Julie Hunter was able to sit there and outshine you because you weren't there. You at least got to show up in life. If you don't show up in life, well, it is what it is. And so he didn't show up in life. Certainly not at the chamber forum. And so I don't know what else he wants, what accolades he's looking for. But you know, he'll be just fine. Now he's making excuses after the fact. If you don't show up, I don't even want to hear any excuses after the fact, to be quite clear. West Bay West, it's your time now. Y'all got to step up and do what you got to do. He's scared. I'm telling you, he's running scared. Probably for the first time ever. He called her Lily White, like that's supposed to be an insult. Oh, Lily White. I'm like, is she supposed to be insulted by that? And then threatening like, oh, well, nobody's been perfect. Even you, Miss Lily White. I'm pretty sure the woman has not said she's been perfect. I mean, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? But let me be very, very clear. I don't know what he thinks he knows about Miss Julie and what mistakes she might have made in her life or poor decisions like we all do. But I can bet the entire farm, including the school bus, on the fact that whatever she may have done in her life would not even flicker in comparison to what this man has been up to his entire life and then some. So, yeah, McKeeva, you're not really having any sort of impact on anyone, to be quite honest. We don't care. We really don't care about what you have to say about people. You of all people should keep your mouth closed, because God knows everybody's Lily White compared to you. Let's be very, very clear. Okay. What a hot mess that man is. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, he's all up in his feelings. Oh, she's making me look bad for not coming to the forum. No, you made yourself look bad. When will this man ever take some accountability? I'm so sick and tired of him. Oh my God. Listen, April 30th, right around the corner. There's certain people, in my humble opinion, that have to move. Not everybody. I'm not asking for a clean sweep, and I know that the likelihood of that is slim to none. But there are people who've been there long enough and they have created enough trouble that they really, really, really need to go. And he is at the top of my list. Him, John, Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, the three of them always, you see, y'all don't understand how just those people have a tendency to, as I described to someone this morning, put a cog in the wheel. And then they make everything go downhill from there. Look at McKeeva from the last time, folks. He had an opportunity to come and redeem himself the last 4 years. What did he do? Had to get kicked out of being speaker again, touching women inappropriately. I mean, the man just cannot stop. He cannot help himself. Drunk and slobberly all over the place, urinating in public after he's drunk, driving a government vehicle while drunk. I mean, come on. He's simply not capable. You know? So get rid of him, West Bay West. Oh, I've done this, I've done that. Sir, you were paid. You were doing a job. And you were paid handsomely to do that job. You weren't doing us any favors. And for the past 20 years, you've done nothing. So you can't live off of what you did 35, 40 years ago. Yeah. So it's time that West Bay West recognize that keeping this man in political office is just having a seat warmer for zero legitimate reason and you need someone else to get in there and do something, anything. Even if Miss Julie just gets in there and does community work, cleans up yards and whatever, I'm going to tell y'all that that's a lot more than what McKeeva Bush is doing. And for some candidates, you have to ask yourself the question. It's going to come down to this, right? Because I know some of you are thinking, well, I'm not crazy about this one, but I'm also not crazy about that one. You've got to think about this. And Chris Saunders, absolutely. Somebody said I forgot Chris, absolutely. That goes without saying that he's got to go. It comes down to this. Who's going to do the least amount of harm? I mean, I think that's sad that that's the question we have to be asking on April the 30th. But you better believe that that's the question that we need to be asking. Who is going to do the least amount of harm if elected to public office? I don't need, you guys know, right? Who's going to do the least amount of harm between McKeeva Bush and Julie Hunter? Well, I can tell you what, she's not going to be touching anybody inappropriately and sexually, sucking on people, biting on people. She won't be doing that. She certainly won't be drinking and driving, right? There won't be any accusations of her sexually assaulting people. She's not going to be urinating in public. I mean, there's a whole list of things. She's not going to be dragging people by their hair and beating them up. So, yes, somebody said she won't be a national disgrace, but he has been all of those things. He's a convict. You're making fun of her because you're claiming she's not Lily White, but she's also not a convict. I'm just saying. So, come again. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Good morning, class. 330 plus watching. Good morning, Miss Flora. Marshall says, compared to him, she's more perfect than him. Big Mac needs to go sit down somewhere in the bush. Marshall, good morning to you. Olivia's here. Miss Dawn, so good to see you. Somebody said, please don't forget him with the First Cayman Bank, where so many Caymanians, especially Caymanian seniors, lost their life savings. And you guys still, after all of that, I remember when that happened, because I had not too long came back to Cayman, 1996, I came back, and that happened in the late 90s, and you guys still continue to put your faith in this man. He has lied to you. He has been the biggest con artist politically in this country. Good morning, Miss Beulah. Morning, Caymankind. Wee Marjorie is here. Felicia Rankin in the house. Damaris, so good to see you. Debbie joining us from Thailand. So good to see your Caymanians abroad. Dee Dee, buenos dias to Miss Daisy. Traveling, Miss Daisy, where are you now? Diamond Princess, Miss Lucille in the UK. Strong Wilt is here. Evelyn, Alba, buenos dias, mamacita, ¿cómo estás? Miss Elizabeth, buenos dias. Yes, he had pneumonia, but it was linked to cancer. So it was a result of a cancer battle, poor thing. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Abby, buenos dias. Miss Jean, good morning. Barbara G in the house. West Bay West, rise up, honey child. Justice will be served, says blessed morning. Been a couple days. Good to see you. Kimmy. Hey, Kimmy, how you doing? She says, I'm a West Bay West voter, and Miss Julie Hunter has my vote 100%. What? Where's my little... Take that, honey child. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Kimmy. We just need more of you that got sense. Lisa, Jamaicans love him because he granted them status. Well, not for nothing. I mean, that's been a hot minute now. But what else has he done for you other than that? He certainly hasn't improved the quality of life for any Caymanian. So he might have given you status, but take a look around at how the rest of us are suffering, including yourselves now that you have status. Listen, the funny thing is, I know Jamaicans and others who've gotten status. And once they get status, they're like, oh my God, it's only now that I can't find a job. It's only now that I'm being treated like a second-class citizen. I said, welcome to the club, honey Jill. Morning, Patricia Blake. Daisy says she's in the UK. Lavana, that vacation of yours finished yet? Honeymoon. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. Are we going to talk about why Miss Cayman was stripped? Yes, I hope, because I want to talk to her, actually. So if anyone, this is Miss Cayman World, if anyone knows her, please tell her that Sandy needs to talk to her, because I want to get it from the horse's mouth. I don't know enough about what's going on, except I'm hearing that that pageant is also a hot mess as well. Oh, God. I'm beginning to loathe pageants, Anthony. I must tell you. You know, my daughter, and I'm going to bring in Ozzy here in a second. Those of you who have daughters, you know, some of them are very girly girls. She's into the girly girl stuff. She disappears in a room. Next thing, she comes on with rouge, and I said, "You better take that off because your daddy gonna fix you." So, oh, I think we can get her on this morning. Hallelujah. So I got to tell you, these pageants here and otherwise really put a bad taste in my mouth. I'm just so sick and tired of the drama. So I'm hoping, although she's a girly girl, that she has no interest in pageants. If she ever comes to me talking about she wants to do a pageant, Lord, have mercy. Oh. Hold on. Ozzy, I might ask you to hang tight because we got to break this news here this morning. If she can come now, because it looks like she might have a little conflict. All right. Okay. All right, we're gonna work around her schedule here, so let's see how it goes. All right, but I'm really praying that my daughter does not ask me about pageants, because I'm gonna have to sit down with her and say, listen, we will build up your self-esteem and teach you how to walk in heels and all these other things without you being exposed to pageant. I mean, no, honey child, we can do those things outside of the pageant world. It's just too messy. Yeah, these people who run the pageants, I think, really are the problem. And it brings out the worst in people. I don't really think it brings out the best in people, unfortunately. Justice will be served says, white people always calling us Jamaicans names, Dart and the white people being granted status, and no one's calling their names. All right, she's going to come 8:30, so we're going to pull in. Well, that's one of your own Jamaicans that made that comment, justice will be served. So you're going to have to ask her. I didn't say nothing about him giving status to Jamaicans. That was a Jamaican that said that, so take it up with her. She's just explaining, though, to be fair to her, she was just explaining why Jamaicans love him. You're Jamaican, I guess, by your comment. Justice will be served. Do you like McKeeva Bush? I know a lot of Jamaicans who can't stand the man because they have plenty of sense and they realize that the giving of status was a cheap ploy, maybe to get their support, but long term, it really hasn't helped anybody, including them. I'm just saying. Ozzy, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Sandy, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so good to have you here. Thank you very, very much for coming on the program today. No luck from Robert. I really need to speak to him.
Always good to be here. I just spoke to him, and I messaged him, and he sent me a voice note, and it's not good. He really can't manage a call.
I have one question.
He's going in both directions, put it that way. It's
really I do have a question for him because only he can answer this question. And unfortunately, I have to bring it out whether he's here or not. And I would rather him have been here to be able to answer the question. So yesterday, someone messaged me last night, and I know you can't respond to this, so I really wanted him here even for a few minutes because he's going to have to address this one way or the other. But someone messaged me with this allegation, because, you know, Ozzy, they're throwing around all sorts of foolishness, trying to put blame on me for only God knows what. If the earth starts rotating the other way, all of a sudden it's my fault at the moment. And the reason that they're up in their feelings about this is that ultimately they see that your group, which was organized, and you've been coming in here talking about the issues, not talking about people like McKeeva Bush, not talking about personalities. You guys are very, very hyper-focused on what the country wants to hear. And so they don't like that you guys are making some serious headway. So they're trying to push this narrative that I'm somehow, I don't know, going to be in the voting booth with people. I'm forcing people to vote for particular candidates. I mean, it's just uber ridiculous. But of course, I have no issues addressing it. And they put up, somebody said to me, let me just read you the message here that I got at 8:51 yesterday. It says, hi, there's a photo going around. Hold on, let me just screen grab it because then it's easier for me to read it. and everyone in class can follow along. Here we go. And so this was something that I wanted Robert to address today, because like I said, only he can address this, because I certainly don't know anything about it. Give me one quick second. So the person says, hi, there's a photo going around of Robert Bodden post with a gang member with a gun. People are saying that it's been sent to you and they're watching to see if you will bring it up, because if you don't, it proves that party has you in their pockets. I don't believe that at all. Just wanted to let you know in case you didn't. Well, of course, I didn't know anything about the photo. I saw a comment, I think it was day before yesterday or something, that one of these fake accounts had put up. And I said to the person, if you have a photo, why are you asking me if I've seen it? Just send it. I don't know what you're talking about. Just send the photo so I can see it and we can address it and put it to bed. These things are very easy in my mind. You know, if you have no ulterior motive and you are a person who just, speaks the truth, you don't have a problem addressing problems head on. This is the thing that I don't understand with people. They're out there trying to create a fake story. You can't create a fake story with me, because I'm the kind of person who just comes straight at it, addresses it, and then we move on. So I can unequivocally say that up until last night at 9:01 p.m., I had never seen, I'm going to put the photo up there, I had never seen this photo in my life. I don't know who these people are. I don't know, what's going on here. Like I said, I was hoping Robert would have been here this morning to address this. It's only going to take a couple minutes for him to tell us.
So I can address it if you allow me.
Yes, give me 1 second. So this person says they sent me the photo at 9:01, and they sent me some forwarded messages that then said a gang member with a gun. It was sent to Sandra, but she's keeping it quiet. That, folks, is an unequivocal lie. No one has sent this to me that I'm aware of. Keep in mind, I'm not the person who's checking our social media accounts, but I checked with the team. None of them have seen this photo. I never saw this photo anywhere in my life until 9:01 last night, when this person sent it to me on WhatsApp. So I don't know who these people are. I don't know what this is about. I mean, obviously it looks like Robert posted it on social media and said, sleep in peace, gone but never forgotten. Ozzy, take it away with an explanation.
Okay, Sandy, thank you. These are two Bodden Town boys that grew up around us.
Mm-hmm.
There's no gang. It was as like Georgetown hung out together. These Bodden Town boys hung out together. The one on the left was called Breeze. He's a Seymour that lived in Bodden Town, raised in Bodden Town. And the one on the right literally grew up under my feet, because his mom is well known, Lucy Wood, and that's Leon Powell. Now, that picture Robert put up to honor their memory as boyhood friends of his, a little younger than him, I think, certainly younger than me, but quite a bit younger than Robert as well. But when the picture went up, I can attest to the fact that Robert, like many people, including myself, did not see the gun. So when it was brought to my attention shortly after going up, I told him, I said, Robs, take that down. It has a gun. The picture has a gun in it. That's a gun in Breeze's hand. At least whether it's fake or real, I don't know. But it appears to be a gun. So Robert immediately pulled it down. Of course, by then, the troublemakers had found it and started to do what they do best, and that is spread bad news on Robert.
Yeah.
Robert did not put anything up to do with a gun. He put up these two young men who tragically both lost their lives on motorbikes from Bodden Town. One in Cayman, one I witnessed. So this is very emotional for me, because I watched Leon get killed. I was on the highway in Linford Pearson when he ran off the road and hit the tree. And I stopped. I was the first person on the scene.
Oh my God.
Breeze was in Miami with a girlfriend of his on a bike, and they got killed on 836 close to the airport.
Oh, I remember hearing about that in the movie.
She was a passenger.
Yes, I remember hearing that.
All Robert was doing was honoring these two young men's memory and their families. He did not see a gun. There was nothing about any gang. This is, as they call them, Bodden Town. But what they call BT's finest. The Bodden Town boys hung out. They went up together. They came back together. You know, they were not perfect. Nobody is. But you know, these were good. You know, I mean, these are people's children, and they were good to their family, and that's what mattered. And Robert was simply doing that as a Bodden Town leader. And now people have taken that. I don't know what they interpret him to be doing with it.
They claim that he's supporting gangsters and that.
Yeah, the gangster lifestyle, I guess. But I don't know. We don't even know if that's a real gun in Breeze's hand. You know, that may not have been a real gun. But it's so sad that every little thing that happens, people take and twist it negatively. I mean, if you heard the meeting the other night up at in Lookout Gardens that John had, and you hear the rhetoric that came from the mouths of his people, his lieutenants, and what they got up there and said. We don't operate at that level. We got too much problems in Cayman right now with our people in our country to be talking nonsense like this. It's a lack of intellect, and it's a lack of maturity, and it's simply a lack of class. You cannot be going on a platform that's a political platform for the benefit of this country and the future of this country and be talking nonsense about people. Robert has aired his past. Everybody knows Rob's went through a difficult time with substance abuse. He never once created a problem for people in the community. He was not a nuisance. He didn't go to jail. You know, he worked himself through it and he got over it. And thank God he's here now offering himself wiser, a little older, and with a lot of experience under his belt. And, you know, you're going to try everything in the world to kill a man like that. You know, kick me when I'm down. This is Cayman's mentality. Crabs in a barrel. Don't want to see anyone get ahead. The truth is that we are challenging the hierarchy, the established hierarchy that has been, and may I say, corrupt hierarchy that's been established for many years now, and they feel threatened, and they're going to come with every single thing.
Somebody says to please give Robert an honorary kaboom this morning. You know, it is political silly season, Aussie, and it is quite unfortunate the how low our people are prepared to go this election season. And you would swear that I am the individual who is running for political office, or they must see me as the most influential person in the Cayman Islands. It's just shocking to me. I don't really know why these individuals are up in their feelings. We have offered our services here at CMR, as I've said before, and we made it very clear early on. I've spoke to some of these other groups, and I've actually spoken to the two other groups, and for whatever reason, they're not here advertising. So, you know, that's.
And if you'd allow me, I would plead on your behalf. We hire your services as anyone else is entitled to do as a party.
Exactly.
And you provide that service to us as you're doing right now. I'm here because we paid for this airtime. Right. You are not doing us any favors for the good of your heart. You have a business, and we have bought into that when you send out the packages. Whoever chose to not do it, that's their issue. Now, you are also a Caymanian, a voter with a brain. And you have people that you support, and you have people that you don't support. And that is up to you what you say and do about that. We don't control you.
Exactly.
All you control is when we come onto your show and the questions that you ask us, we do our best to answer. So people need to stop. They just need to stop the nonsense. But you see, because you have a large viewership, you're a threat. And whatever you say, it carries some weight. So therefore, you're going to face this forever. But you're not a TCCP puppet, and we are not your managers. So people need to understand that in Cayman and put that to bed as well. People just are something else in this country, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what is so ironic, Ozzy? I'm glad that you reminded everyone that I am a Caymanian, and I'm a Caymanian woman that has made the necessary sacrifices to be where I am today. I'm also not perfect. I've made a lot of horrible decisions in my life, and yet I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still fighting for Caymanians every single day. And some don't like it because I've called them out on their foolishness, and I don't really care one way or the other, because I believe that whenever we get into stuff, we get called out, including myself, and that comes with the territory. But it's funny because there are other mediums out there and there are other people out there who do and say whatever, and they're not biased, they're not pro whoever. I mean, come on. I'm not trying to pick on Mario, but he actually has a sign in his yard that says we don't vote for quitters, and nobody's saying on his platform that he's biased. It's like, what? Anyway, let's move on to the important issues. Carlene Elizabeth Evans says kaboom for that one. Vernita says thank you, Ozzy. Lee says I honestly believe that the PPM are definitely threatened by the TCCP because they know that the TCCP is a very strong party and will give them a run for their money. Lee, listen, go and read Cayman News Service. Everyone is saying that they would not trust PPM to run anything, much less this country. So this isn't I'll be honest with you, in my opinion, this isn't PPM versus TCCP. This isn't even CINP, because both PPM and CINP will be lucky if they get 3 or 4 people in. That's just my opinion. This is an opinion-based show, and I'm just sharing my opinion with you guys. Sonia says, so right, Oz, this election will be a serious one. I pray it doesn't get violent. I personally won't attend any meetings, but I'm old school. I know where my vote lies. Jasara says, Lee, exactly what the issue is. And Jean also agrees with Lee saying bullseye. So, you have multiple groups, obviously vying for your attention. You've got TCCP, you've got CINP, and you've got the PPM. Both the PPM and CINP are not here. You make of that what you will. I've told you that PPM have given me a reason why they're not here, because they don't want to upset Barbara and they don't want to hurt her feelings. Somebody just said Radio Cayman and OC are pro PPM. If medias have a slant, it is what it is. CINP, they just couldn't get it together. That's why they're not here. They've never given me a reason exactly, but it was a lot of back and forth, and my brain can't take too much undecisiveness, as you guys well know. So they never got it together in time for the what do we call it? For the deadline that I had in place for everybody, and everybody was subjected to that deadline. So there's nothing that I can do in terms of that. Someone says, political riddle for the day. I struck through the islands with headlines galore, casinos, quick tempers, and scandals in store. I dodge every charge with a shrug and a grin. Who's back in the spotlight? I always jump in. Oh my God, you guys are so talented. Here's Makiva Bush. I love this political riddle. And then they said, please give Robert an honorary kaboom. You guys are so talented. Oh my gosh, smart. Here's another one. This person says, Sandy Dan Scott said he'll never come on your show. His loss. Oh, did he say that? Well, he hasn't said it to me, but okay then. Dan Scott, no hard feelings. I mean, that's not what you told me to my face. And if y'all were flying that wall, but that's okay. That's his choice. He never wants to come on my show. No problem. I mean,
anyway, Sandy, speaking of Radio Cayman and perceived bias, I don't know that to be the case, but what I would like you to give me the opportunity to mention now as well is the fact that from last week and a couple times this week, I think, the issue of my candidacy has been at the forefront of some of OC's shows, whether it's the morning show or the talk today. Let me just say clearly, I thought this had been put to bed, but on nomination day, I had submitted my 2 nominators, and I had a witness who was also a Bodden Town West voter. I had in the room a number of Bodden Town West voter supporters, including my own family. We sat there. I was nominated first by Mr. Copeland, Andrew Copeland. The process was smooth. Went to Miss Dorothy Ruth Williams. Some people call her Rufus, my good friend. She was honored to nominate me because we consider each other brother and sister. Now, of course, before I chose those nominators, I checked to see if they were registered. They were on the January 29th list. Okay, this is not March 3rd. They were both on the January 29th list, so no problem. We sat there, as I said, and they came to Miss Ruth's turn. She did not have her ID with her, so she got up and she went to her car and she brought back her ID and handed it in. It was her driver's license, I believe. The only other issue that we had that day was she signed where they had signature and right name and signature. They had it in reverse order to what we're used to, because normally you sign above the name. They have it in reverse on that form. So Rufus signed in the wrong spot, so she had to do it over. So they told her, you got no more chances. That's it. We all laughed at it. So we got it done. There was no queries. There was no questions asked. There was nothing. It was smooth as smooth could be. We were nominated. I was nominated. We left that place together, as everyone knows, in a bus, and we went about our business. 2 weeks later, Rufus calls me and says, Oz, I don't know what's going on. She said, but I just got a call from this very English gentleman, says he's from financial crime, and he's asking me about nomination. I said, what? I said, Rufus, that must be a prank call. I said, hold it right there. Let me check. So I went immediately to Mr. Howell, my good friend, the supervisor of elections. I said, Mr. Howell, I said, where's I call him? Is this legit? And he said, yes, Oz, it is, because it was discovered upon review that Ruth is not officially a voter until April the 1st. She's on the list. There were no objections, because there's an objection period that expires sometime in February once you go on to the list. There were no objections to Miss Ruth moving from Prospect to Bodden Town West. Yesterday, she became an official, but that is purely, who really pays attention? You tell me which one of us as voters out there pay attention to when we officially become, once we are on the list. So there was no attempt to deceive. There was plenty backup. As I think Elvis McKeever called OC's show and said to him that he had a similar incident in the Brock, and all they did, they told him he had an issue, and he went and he got someone else and put them in the seat. I could have sat my witness down, Val Nerisse, and said, please nominate me if they'd given us any indication. So I say all that to say this. This lands fairly and squarely at the feet of the elections office. They are the professionals. We are there to be nominated. We have a duty of care, yes, and we did that. We checked, and she was registered to our mind. If there was a problem with Ruth on that day, we should have been told, and I would have simply replaced her. It is very unfair for that good lady to have her name tarnished as trying to do something that she's not allowed to do, and for me to have a question about my candidacy, which has been put to bed by the elections office.
Like 2 weeks ago. So why is Ozzy talking about it now?
Exactly. This was weeks ago. This was put to bed. The elections office says my candidacy is not in any doubt, and the other matter is being dealt with and will be resolved. Now, Sandra, what this is, I can tell you what this is. This is politics again. Because what is going on there is that they're trying to put doubts in the voters' mind, because they know I'm winning. They're trying to put doubts in the voters' minds as to whether I will be the MP, or if I become the MP, when I become the MP, if I can be challenged and removed. Right. So in other words, don't waste your vote on Ozzy because he's not going to be around. Well, I have a new story for them. You're wrong. I will be the MP, and I will be there on May 1st morning to represent the good people of Bodden Town West. So stop the nonsense, please. Just, you know, it is whatever they can throw, whatever mud, whatever accusations they can throw, it is not sticking. It is not sticking, and it's gonna be, you know, water off a duck's back. You beat me at the polls if you want to beat me. Otherwise, leave me alone and let me do my job, because what I want to do is represent Bodden Town West and these Cayman Islands for the issues that we have facing us, and to offer real and tangible results with a group of people that are equipped and ready to govern from day one.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm getting all my special buttons ready for election time there, Ozzy, because as you well know, I even ordered some air horns, like the real ones. As you
We're gonna have some tomorrow night at the rally. I hope Robert gets well. I told him, I said, get to the doctor. I need you tomorrow night on stage. So whatever it takes, I know this thing is bad, it's going around, but try and get there and get whatever medication you need to get well for tomorrow night. We cannot not have him on stage tomorrow night. So I wish him well, and I know he's very sick because he sounded horrible just now. But yeah, that's where we're at, and I hope that that answers the questions, because you see, these people are smart. They know that postal voting is already going on, right? And they're trying to sow seeds of doubt in people's minds overseas as well as elsewhere as to my ability to be there. But that's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. In fact, it's going to backfire on them, and like everything else that they've tried. And we are able and willing and happy to serve.
Someone says OC is also pro-Chris, hence why he's even talking about Ozzy on Monday, because again, this issue happened like a week and a half ago. So somebody called me Ozzy, and I was confused because I'm like, is this something new? This is old news. All right, we've got a couple callers on the line. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to join both of them. But the first one up is, let me see here now, 917. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Good morning, dear.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, Ozzy. Good morning, Sandra. This is Carrie from the Barack.
Good morning, Carrie.
Hi, good morning, Carrie.
I actually was very confused, Ozzy, when I heard OC bring it up on his show the other day. And I called in because I got so many people messaging me about it, like, what's going on? Is Ozzy not going to be able to qualify to run in the election? But I said, I don't know, but let me call in and try to get more clarity to this, because I didn't understand what it was all about. And what I find most confusing about this, Ozzy, which I really want you to win, you know, I'm rooting for you and Robert, simply because if a candidate, if someone is nominating you and they are not registered in the district that you're running in, then you can't nominate them. But a candidate don't have to be registered in the district that they're running in. And I find that extremely hypocritical. That's a bunch of hypocrisy, because if the candidate can circumvent things and the voter can't, or the person nominating you can't, then I think that's a bunch of hypocrisy. And they should fix that. That's a major issue that needs to be corrected before the next election. The other thing that I found out, Ozzy, that I thought was very peculiar, I know you all gonna fix this now when I get reelected. Mr. Connor raised the issue of a voter who had been registered for multiple elections prior, okay? And then went to the polls at that election time, at that day of election, to go and vote, and was told they no longer existed on the electoral list. They were not there, so they weren't able to vote. And I thought that there should be some sort of interjection from somebody, whether it was the deputy governor or the governor, when, you know, to know the elections office. Actually, it was the ones that apologized to that voter and said, we were sorry that you couldn't vote, but it was our fault that you were taken off this list. Now, who fixes those corrections before election day? And then on election day, you can't get nothing corrected because it's a holiday. Nobody is there ensuring that people who know that they're registered, and apparently this voter had their voter's card. So if you're issued a voter's card, you're on that list, and only person can move you off is yourself. If you no longer, want to vote, or even if you've moved districts, it doesn't matter. But having people in that kind of predicament on election day is unfair to voters in this country, and not being able to vote in an election. They'll wait 4 more years to do it when they've voted in elections, all the elections they were eligible to vote in leading up to that one. And I think that's where we have the problem in our systems of this country, especially in our government, that are not foolproof. I don't know what the issue is. We don't have sufficient staff that's knowledgeable to know that these things need to be looked into and corrected. So voters are not ostracized on election day and are given their rightful stance to make their civic duty known to who they want to vote for. So anyways, we got to correct that, Ozzy, when you all get in the house. All right?
Thank you so much,
thank
caller.
you.
Thank you, Karen.
All right,
Have
dear.
a good day.
Another caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning, dear.
Son.
How
Good
you
morning,
doing?
Mr. I said, Mr. Ozzy, you don't worry what they say. You got do clean street, and they gonna dig in everything that they can dig in what they can't find and try to find something. So this is politics, I call it. Do worry about people, because like they say, people gonna be people, and you never change them.
Yeah.
But you just do what you gotta do, and on the 1st of May, we gonna have 3 freedom trains, TCCP all the way. And I will be there tomorrow night, God willing, with plenty of horns. I don't send in stock. So
Go make some noise. Go make some noise, Shelma.
We gonna have a part, because my mouth big, and you don't want to people and dig and dig and dig. They say try and find ants, and then I find it, but they're gonna come out and say anything, because this is politics, not tick fun, and I got tick fun in the back. So don't worry. We want TCCP all the way, and if people know, because like I tell them, this is a crucial something, and if people got any sense, and they don't want quiet on the 1st of May, if they got sense, they better put that vote and put it in the right place for the right people, because if we get the wrong people, we're going to hell.
All right, my dear. Thank you very much. All right, 936-2626. What a hot mess.
The thing is with these accusations and stuff like that is
it's intended to confuse people.
Yeah, the good old Bible says he who is without sin to throw the first stone, right? And a lot of these people saying stuff like this need to look in their own families. It's well known there are people on drugs in their family. And I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
so what is the big sin? I mean, yeah, it's not a nice thing. And nobody wants to have to deal with that. But the reality is it affects us all. Here you have a man who has been through hell and back. He lost 2 brothers on the streets of Bodden Town. And he's here putting himself forward with all that behind him, with the experience gained, with a good head on his shoulders, with visionary thinking, sits at the table, contributes. Don't talk about people, not there to dig up any mud or slander on people. He has a 2-year-old kid. He has a future. He wants a future for her and his family. And you are going to stand there and talk nonsense about sniffers and all this, and you got sniffers right next to you? Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, let me be very, very clear. I don't, I guess I'm kind of a Bodden Towner, but I don't know all the details of what's happening in Bodden Town, but there are lots of people who do know. And so this listener to the program says, can John honestly say that some of his family wasn't selling drugs and still not selling drugs in Bodden Town? Listen, we all have family members, me, myself included, who are into sometimes illegal activity. They're not the best people in the world. It's a question of whether or not you want to deal with them on a personal level. Everybody knows my position is I don't need those people that close in my life, not at all.
Right.
Although they still be calling me, asking me for black box pizzas. If I can help feed anybody, I'm not going to deny anybody food. But when it comes to my personal principles and my position, I don't let those people in my circle.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so I'm sure John, like anybody else, has family members who are selling drugs. I don't know what his relationship is to those people, but this is why he shouldn't have people on his platform going after persons on an individual level, because then it gets really, really nasty, because
Exactly.
he himself is definitely less than perfect. God knows
Exactly.
that. He has been arrested for assaulting a man, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, focus on the issues. That's what the Caymanians want you to focus on, John. But I think it is interesting that you seem to be bankrupt when it comes to focusing on the issues and what you have actually done for the people of Bodden Town. So just ice for all says that you're quoting the Bible, Ozzy. I think most Caymanians can quote a chapter or two, just ice for all, because we all probably grew up in the church. So, you know, I don't see any issues with Ozzy quoting that if he feels like doing so. Morning, Miss Mia. Just says, many thanks for that, Carrie. I couldn't agree more with you. Mr. Wood has a question, and Jean says, well, that would make too much sense, and this is important to know. Philip says, why doesn't the elections office put out a statement and put this end to nonsense?
They did.
They
did.
We did a story on this on Saturday 2 weeks ago, and they did. That's why everybody was confused about why, hold on now. Everybody was confused about, this was March the 22nd, elections office is the headline. Let me show you guys here in case you missed the story. It actually said, and we were waiting until the elections office themselves made a statement on this. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you guys the exact story here. Elections office confirms Ozzy Bodden's candidate status. That was from March the 22nd. So, you know, keep in mind now, March the 22nd, that following Monday, which would have been the 24th, if OC wanted to have this discussion, in my mind, that would have been the appropriate time to say, hey, this is what happened over the weekend, et cetera, et cetera. He waits almost a full 2 weeks, at least a full week, I should say, the 31st, to bring this up as a conversation piece, as though this was something new and already had not been settled by the elections office. The elections office, like I said, go and read it. They settle the matter. They made a statement. They said, let me just see here what the article says. They've officially confirmed that he remains a valid candidate for the Bodden Town West electoral district in the upcoming election. And then we talk about the rumors that was being circulated. Nale posted something on his page. Well, we know he works with CINP, and he was questioning his eligibility. So we saw this circulating, and they issued a press statement on a Saturday. Now imagine the elections office, I can tell you, they don't do much issuing of anything on a Saturday, but they did so. And what I can also tell you is before that statement was issued, they actually reached out to the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General himself, is what I understood, and spoke to him about the legality of what they were about to say and all the elements of it. So they got legal advice, in other words, before they even released their statement. And they said that the Elections Act provides for a legal mechanism for the supervisor of elections to seek a declaration from the Grand Court regarding the qualification, et cetera, et cetera. However, Section 29A does not apply to the qualifications of the nominator. The statement emphasized that Bodden's own qualifications under Section 61 and 62 of the Constitution remained unchallenged, and therefore his candidacy stands. So this is something that should be a non-issue, and we shouldn't even be talking about it. But, you know, here we are, regardless, wasting time on this when we could be talking about issues.
Yeah.
So it is peculiar. I know a lot of people here.
There's somebody asking their Sunday saying why I didn't check. We did. I just said that a while ago. I think that person may not have been listening at the time, but we checked, and she was on January 29th.
Oh, what a hot mess, honey child. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Morning there.
I have a question to the whole of the Cayman Islands. As a Caymanian, we have an issue, and our biggest issue is in this, is tearing each other down.
Yeah.
This is not about a party. This is not about a color. This is not about the individual and their egoistic behavior or the pay. They're going in there to do a job for the people. So I think instead of people coming out, they're bashing each other, their own voters, putting stuff out there. Go in, cast your vote for who you want to vote for, and just wish that your candidate will win. Because like I'm telling you something here today, if we elect the wrong people, we're doomed. I give God thanks. I've never had to go to government for anything. But we have a lot of people in our community that have to go to government for handouts. So they better cast their vote right and do what is right. And stop bashing each other. We're the only community in our own community. Our Caymanian people, I don't care who like it or who don't like it. I don't care who bash me today because it's the truth. Everybody come into our country and live good. Everybody tear down each other. No politician in that house has a clean slate. Everybody either bought a Rolex, used the credit card, went in education mess up, then went in finance and mess up. So they need to stop the foolishness. A lot of them don't how to be in there. They're only there to say they have power in this egoistic behavior they have. That's it. But they need to stop this because the people are the sufferers, not them. They are already set good or they're about to set themselves good. Majority of them don't really need it. So we as the voter, how more so we vote them in, we take them out. And that's it. I know who I go in and vote for. That don't mean I'm going to bash the other candidate. I really have no need for the next candidate, but that's it.
All right. Thank you, caller. We do have another call on the line. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Good morning.
In my view, this conversation should be about the interests of the Caymanian people. And when I hear you say that the PPM has informed you that they're not coming on your show because of not wanting to hurt Barbara's feelings, that causes me to question their ability to make serious political decisions. It is not about the feelings of an individual. This is about the interests, the issues, the solutions that we should be talking about. Just think about what his answer is saying. He's saying he's not going to have a dialogue with your group of people because of someone's feelings. That sounds like high school. We should have moved past that kind of thinking a long time ago. And people who refuse to have conversation because they don't like how you think or what you believe, do you understand that that's contrary to the whole concept of a civilized society? The reason you become an MP in the first place is because a long time ago, the world decided, you know what? War is gruesome. It's expensive. We don't get to focus on anything else but war. So why don't we just sit down around a table and have a conversation about our differences rather than killing each other? Today, we call that place Parliament. In the case of the Cayman Islands, I want to emphasize we only have a state assembly that's called Parliament, but that's a different story. The point I'm making is that we need to understand that regardless of how you feel about somebody's opinion on an issue, you're not there to represent yourself. You're there to represent the interests of the constituents. So have the conversation, even if you don't like the person you're having the conversation with. Am I off base?
No.
I mean, I don't think so. But you know, as you and I had a little bit of a private conversation about this, and I said to you, I can't force these people to come on here. You know, I'm not a dictator. I can't take out my cow card. I don't even own a cow card and force them to come on. But I think you're absolutely right that it says a lot about them. The fact that they refuse, Hermes says, to give the caller kaboom. The fact that they refuse to come on right now we have over 600 people on our live stream alone, countless more listening on radio, and they refuse to come on. So what am I to do? There's nothing that I can do. I mean, someone messaged me this morning, which I didn't know. They were saying all this stuff about Dan Scott and his feelings and whatever. I this is the first time hearing that, but I don't even care. I mean, good for them. We'll see what happens come election day, but I don't know.
Well, you see, what I'm trying to say is that the issues that we should be talking about are of national importance. They affect everyone in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're incapable of saying, well, no, I'm going to forget about a person's individual feelings, and I'm going to have the important conversation because it's important. If you can't do that, just in conversation about the issues, what happens when you get into the minutia of a particular issue? I think we need some serious political maturity in Cayman. Anyhow, that's
thank
me
you.
for today.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, Andy. It's unfortunate that we have to spend pretty much an hour almost talking about this.
Let's talk about your rally, Ozzy.
We got too many issues facing us. And this is why the TCCP was formed, to deal with unity, with good governance, with ability to address the hard issues that are facing us. Just last night, Sunday, I was sitting in the living room of a family who asked me over to have a discussion. Spent over an hour with them. And, I left there convinced that I'm here for the right reason, because the gentleman that I was speaking to has 4 kids, 2 younger and 2 older in university. And those 2 older kids are in the UK, and they are refusing to come back home. They point blank say they're not coming. There's no future in Cayman. Now, this is why I'm here, because when I found out that there were so many of our young people wanting to leave Cayman, because I have 3 young adult kids and 3 grandkids. So I'm well in tune with the needs of the young generation, because I hear it every day. They pound it into me. And I can tell you, we got a lot of problems. When we look at the rate of suicide in this country compared to when I grew up, oh my goodness, we didn't hear about suicide. Now you got young people taking their own lives. Why? It means that man is not what it should be. We have to fix this. And the past governments, the last 8 years in particular, what has been done really in terms of fixing and putting Cayman on the right track? Special interest has dominated. And special interest is about certain people getting contracts, making money in this country, and in most cases, leaving the country and leaving us in the lurch. Caymanians want to be first and foremost in their country, and they deserve to be. But it's going to take us time to get this, because this is no quick fix. I don't want anyone to think that we have a magic wand, but we recognize the problem, and we are willing to go there without corruption, and weed out the corruption that there is in this country. Because don't get me started on that. There is so much we talk about. Okay, man, is not really corrupt like other places, where you buy this and you buy that. Okay, that's blatant corruption. But we have an undercurrent corruption in this country that dictates all the things that surprise you. When you see this one doing this and there you wonder, well, how did that situation unfold? It's because of corruption. It's usually some politician is in the midst of it, and he finds him or herself where people are leaning on them to make decisions that should not be made in the best interest of Caymanians. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but we have to start with our young people. We have to get them the right education. We have to put them in the right jobs. We have to make sure our young people that are in university come back to jobs and don't have to sit at home for 2 years waiting on a job. Those who are willing to come back, we have to encourage those who are not willing to come back to come back. because they need to see Cayman as a place for them to dream. The Cayman dream should be alive and well for our people and not for all those who visit simply to make money here and say bye-bye at the end of the day. So we have a huge problem in this country, and it is going to take hard decisions. It's going to take immigration reform. It's going to take capping of certain permit categories. It's going to take capping of certain population categories. It is going to take serious decisions. It's going to take walking into offices and saying, where is your succession plan? What is going on in here? It's going to take enforcement. We got to protect our borders. But yet we have people running for this office now who are just incapable of these discussions or even thinking. And all they can do is get up there and mudsling or throw things at people and hope that it sticks. Well, it's not sticking. We are going to win this election. The TCCP is going to lead this country, whether it is in full or in part. We're going to lead the coalition that's going to come out of the elections. I'm pretty sure of that. And we are going to have good people working together. We're going to put the unity in community back into this country because we need that unity. This crabs in a barrel mentality has gotten us nowhere. We've just seen it. We've just seen it, and we do not need another 4 years of that. We have to remove the career politicians, and that's another thing that I'm going to be pushing for. I do believe that we should have term limits on MPs, whether it's 4 or 5 terms. I think that is more than enough. If you don't achieve it in that time, go home and relax. Just like how your premier has to serve 2 terms and stop, then the MPs we should not encourage career politicians. We need people that come with fresh ideas. I've had 2 terms, but have not been consecutive. I'm a businessman. I have a lot of experience. I've just been chairman of the HSA. I'm bringing something to the table. I've worked hard in this country, made a living, and I have something to contribute because I think I've seen it. I've called myself part of the bridge generation. I've come from the days of mosquitoes and no paved roads and no electricity to this modern Cayman, and I've seen what it is and how we've gotten here. And I've voiced my concerns in many forums. First of all, by writing letters to the press back in the day, the Compass. I was writing letters as a college student. Then I found myself in community clubs, became president of the Lions Club. I have done so much in this country. I've served 2 terms. One as a minister, one as a backbench. So I know my country. I know my people. I know the hurt that's going on. I can feel the hurt daily. And it is not good what we are dealing with because our people feel that they are no longer second class. They feel they are now third, fourth, or fifth class. This has to change. This, I make no apology. We have to make tough decisions. And people in there that are doing this stuff, they need to know that a new generation, a new change is coming, and you're not going to like it. So get your house in order. Start from now, because all of the special interests and the side deals and all of the fancy contracts and the concessions are going out of the window once the TCCP is governing with the leader, Andre Ebanks, who is the best man for the job. Everybody agrees that. Well, if Andre is going to be premier, Andre needs his soldiers to work with him, because don't get me wrong, if we do not get there with Andre won't be premier. So Cayman, you decide who's going to be the premier. The debate is coming up in a few days' time. The 3 leaders, if you choose Andre, then give Andre his utensils to get the job done.
Yes, I mean, for sure. So thank you so much for that. So just ice for all. Apparently, this is your first time here on the program. You've not been paying attention. You got to keep up in class now. Ask the question, why do you care if someone doesn't want to advertise with you, and how does that impact their ability to lead a country? Does anyone really think Joey said because we don't want to hurt her feelings? So let me answer this succinctly for you. Number 1, I don't care. I'm responding to people who do care why the other parties are not here, because there seems to be this narrative out there that somehow I'm preventing them from coming on the show. So just for ice for all, that is why this has become a continued point of discussion. In my mind, it shouldn't be. I made myself very, very clear from early last year how this was going to work. Caller, I can hear you. So I not yet though. I'm not ready for you yet. So just hold on a second. So I made myself very, very clear as to how this was going to work during election season. How does that impact their ability to lead the country? Well, if you were listening to what Denny said, he had a particular opinion that if they care more about how someone like Barbara feels than how the country's feeling and how to reach the most number of people, that does impact how they feel about the party. So I guess it does. And number 3, your third question, does anyone really think that Joey said that? Well, we can call Joey right now just for ice and ask him if he said that. And if he denies it, I have unequivocal proof that he says it. So you just showing up to class, honey child. You don't know what the teacher knows, okay? So don't challenge me, because when I say things, you better believe that I can have proof to back it up. So welcome to class. Clearly you're not ready to this kind of school. This is the school of the cold hard truth, and we don't tell nothing but the truth around here. I don't have any reason to go around lying on anyone. So can I just get a kaboom right there? All right, caller. Yes, Miss Joyce Ann, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Ozzy.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi. I think we got too much politics going on in our parliament, and as you get older,
outside
you get to
too,
realize, it is. And as you get older, you realize that peace is what makes a difference. You understand me? We cannot have so much unrest with people, even now before they get in. There's so much unrest. How is it going to work if they get in? How can we not speak to one another? How can we not say hi? How can we, what is it all about? Not only them, but you also have even those that is on the other party. They see you and they cut their eye and it seems, what are we going to? Where are we going? I mean, we all grew up in that small little place we call home, and I can choose to be TCCP. That's my choice. But that don't mean I gotta hate you because you PPM. I don't just vote for you. I just vote for who I am. I don't have to tell you, but if I wear my shirt, I am sure that I'm not going to wear a shirt and go do, unless you're a hypocrite, and go do else or something else, right? So, I can't stop you from wearing your shirt, but I think most what we're missing is peace and unity. And anything that divided must fall. It's weak. It cannot. And this is why the other government fail, and this is why we have to choose very careful. I think we're at a very breaking or a broken point right now where we are in politics. I mean, we either gonna make it or break it. This term here, this one is one of the, in all the years that we taught that was the one. This is the one that's gonna break the camel's back. We better stop putting aside who we hate. Look and see who it is that we really need to choose, and we better choose carefully, because I'm telling you, if I didn't think that the TCCP was a hope out, I would look elsewhere. But because I've been around, I see and I believe, well, the only how that I will stop believing now is if they was to do something that would make me feel, well, I lost on them. But for now, that's all I feel. But we need to still be able to say hi to one another. We still have to be able to respect one another. We live there. And if you can't respect and gotta be throwing all kind of bad things about one another, you're not ready for Parliament, because this is the problem, what's going on in the country. And this is what has divided the people. It doesn't just divide in Parliament, it divides families and friends and schools and neighborhoods. It divides everybody. Absolutely. And this is what we need to stop. Because when we all divided, there steps in the foreigners. Oh, yes. And say, oh, those fools, we are so glad. And they take over because we too busy fighting. So even when it's you should get a position, because you with TCP, I am not going to put you in that position. And this is a problem. It is a real problem. So we gotta think straight this here election and stop worrying about color. Red or blue and black, and choose the right ones. Yeah. And for me, CCP, everybody else free to say what they want. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much, caller. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
I
you,
mean,
Joy.
listen, we can have respectful discourse, and we can certainly need to disagree on these issues. You know, everybody is going to support who they're going to support. Aurora K. Man says, better believe it. Debbie's saying to vote wisely. It's unfortunate that we have wasted so much time on this. And one caller said that they feel like they're trying to derail the conversation. And sadly, that is part of the objective, Ozzy. Let's try to focus what time we have left on what matters to the people. First of all, I know you wanted to remind people about the upcoming rally, which is going to be happening tomorrow evening at the entrance to Northward from 7 to 9 p.m. And then I also want to talk about some of the solutions that you have, because Myrta is here, and Myrta says, listen, she's got a family of undecided voters in her household, herself included, and she's tired of hearing the candidates repeat the issues. What she wants to do is talk about and focus on some of the solutions: housing crisis, lack of job opportunities for young Caymanians, cost of living, etc. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. I have a question for Mr. Osbourne. Morning. So we see in this election a lot of the younger generation running that seem to have a good head on their shoulders, seem to have, you know, be in the right mindset, but maybe not quite ready for politics. So my question to you and to your team, TCCP, is, would you guys be willing to sort of mentor these younger folks, you know, give them a foot in the door, some kind of job maybe in that they can see the inner workings, and mentor them? If you're thinking about term limits, then we want to make sure that we have a group of people coming up that are ready to take your place when you do come out.
Absolutely.
So is that something that you guys are willing to do? If, you know, say for instance, you get in and Heyman doesn't, would you be willing to work with him and mentor him and get him ready for the next cycle, if that's something that they're willing to do as well?
All right, thank you, caller.
Thank you, caller.
Practicalities. I think we need to, and again, I think that question is about mentoring expectations. What's the practicalities that you as a TCCP member is going to be mentoring somebody from another party? I mean, let's just be honest here.
Hopefully they won't be in the other party anymore. But I appreciate the question, because it's a very valid.
Because remember now, to that caller, there are things in their contract that prohibits them from working with you guys. So, I mean, what does that caller? I mean, I guess they can resign from the party and join TCCP.
Exactly. But to the broader picture on that issue, we have shown clearly that we are very keen on the youth. We have a youth chapter under Ms. Leanna Tibbetts. She's a future MP, I can promise you that. She wanted to run in this election, but she was not allowed because of certain things that she had going on. So we are embracing our young people to the maximum, because let's face it, we are not here for ourselves. We are adults, some of us on the other side of 50. We are here because of the youth. I, Osbourne Bodden, and Alfonso Wright, in 2007, started the youth parliament in this country. We started it for a reason. Although some people claim they started it, we started it. The record shows. So 18 years ago, we started the youth parliament for this very same purpose. We also have a youth assembly in the country that meets every so often, that provide information to government. How much of it is absorbed by prior governments, I don't know. But I can assure you, as a former minister of youth, I take the youth of this country extremely seriously. I want them on the table. I want them at the table, I want them on boards. I want them involved in decision making at the highest level, because it is their input and their expertise and their ability. We have youth that are super sharp, that are seeing way beyond where we are right now. These youth are ready, but they're not quite ready, as that caller said, for parliament. So there is a bridge that has to be built between them and being elected. I think that young Rankin may have a very bright future in politics down the road. But right now, he is a newbie in the district, and he is learning, and he will learn. It is a tough business. This is not an easy business. You have to have a thick skin, and you have to have the experience that's going to guide you, because the truth is the learning curve is extremely steep. And right now in Bodden Town West, where I'm running against him, he is not ready at this time, in my opinion, to take on that leadership role in that district. He may be down the road. So it all depends on his investment and commitment over the future years that will follow. But, you know, young people have to be heard. They have to be given an opportunity, and they have to be there with us. We cannot second guess or think that we know how they are thinking. These young people think outside the box, and we have to give them the opportunity for us to learn from them and they to learn from us. It is a very, very important thing. And tomorrow night at my rally at Northwood with Robert and I, we are going to have Miss Leanne Tibbetts on stage for a few minutes to talk about the youth and what she's been doing and her plans for that area. So this is very, very important, very important.
All right, we do have a caller, but to that last caller's point, someone says, who says that Heyman wants to be mentored by Ozzy? And not only that, but it did make me think about something which is quite interesting. And we saw this happen before, where there was a sort of a mentorship role. Now, mind you, the two of these were of the same party. That was Kenneth Bryan and then Premier Sir Alden McLaughlin. And you saw how that relationship fell apart, primarily because Sir Alden McLaughlin thought that Kenneth was out there doing certain things in the community that he was not in agreement with. So I think that if someone wants to learn the ropes, there's a lot of other ways they can do it other than getting under the direct wings of an MP. I have said this in case you guys have not paid attention. Even when Hunter came on the program, I said, have you been part of service clubs? Have you volunteered for nonprofit organizations so that you can go in and see how meetings are ran, how structures happen, how, you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can certainly learn the ropes. There's only one or two opportunities for the MPs to have someone work directly with them. And I can tell you, they're not going to take their opponent and put their opponent in a trusted position like that. That is yeah, that would be like bringing the devil into your angelic house and hoping that the devil is going to be team TCCP when the devil has been team whatever the whole time. Like, that's not logical to do. So I think it's an unrealistic expectation. Certainly you callers can let me know what you guys think, but that does not mean that if they're interested, that they cannot go out there and learn these things. I have talked about this parliamentary book that I keep telling you guys about how Parliament works. How many of these young ones coming up who claim that they want to be an MP have sat down and read a text like that so that they can understand procedurally what happens? There's tons of information. There's reports. There's ways that they can educate themselves and they can prepare themselves. They have to do the work. It's not always about somebody dragging you to where you want to be. That's part of the problem that we have as Caymanians. We need to get up and do the work. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning. Sorry for the wait.
Good morning.
Hi. I just had a question for Ozzy. Ozzy, I know many voters in Bodden Town. Well, when I say many, I know a few. Let me not lie. Who said that they're waiting for a manifesto from you in the TCCP, and they say that because Chris is the only one who has a manifesto, at least, I mean, whether they like him or not, at least he has a plan. Can you speak to when we're going to get the manifesto? It's already April 2nd. Okay,
very good question. Our manifesto will go online this weekend. I've over a month, I think now, I've had a mini manifesto for my personal plans in Bodden Town West. So I have indicated, you know, the concerns that I see and what I plan to do to fix. And those are in just about every household, I believe now. I've had thousands of them printed, and we're still in the process of putting a few more out, but most homes are now covered with the trifold that I did. But the party manifesto, we have a sign-off meeting this week, and we're going to have that online this weekend. It was held up purely because we had to include the youth needed a say in the manifesto when it was being originally drafted. That had not been included, and we had to give them time to have their meetings and come back to us with what the input that they wanted. So even at that level, we're including our young people very importantly, and that is why our manifesto is a bit delayed. Would have liked to have had it out a bit earlier, but it will be here. And I think the other one is another party's manifesto is coming out as well. So we have the plan will be there for at least a month for people to scrutinize and to hold us accountable. And it's very important that you see that manifesto, you read it, and not just put it on the table, but read it, understand it, and hold the government accountable at the end of the day, because it's no use just making plans and giving lip service if you're not going to do what you say you're going to do. That's your contract with the people. It's a very serious thing, and it's something that we should be held to account for.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Sandra, I have two more questions for Ozzy. I mean, they were really directed for Robert. I was hoping that Robert would come on. I watched his interview the other day, and I was quite moved by how candid he was and how open he was and how vulnerable he made himself. But as he's not here in the meeting, I guess I'll direct it toward Ozzy. I mean, Ozzy, how do you propose to implement preventative measures and community outreach programs aimed at reducing the incidence of substance abuse, particularly among the youth in Bodden Town East? That's my first question. And are there any specific collaborations or partnerships you plan to pursue with health services and non-governmental organizations to address the broader issues of addiction and mental health in the community?
Okay, so the first question was, just repeat the first question for me.
The substance abuse in Bodden Town East. Yeah, well, it's unfortunate.
Yes, thank you, caller.
Okay. Yeah, I got the questions. Thank you, caller, and I appreciate you putting them together. The Bodden Town East, yes, we do have a major problem, and it is sad to see it on a daily basis. The amount of people, young people, that we are not making full use of, and they're on the wrong path. So this speaks to what I have been talking long and hard about, and this is a trade school in the country, a full-fledged trade school and apprenticeship programs, and our education system in general. So we have now, if we get this right, you will find a lot less of those people in the future. Unfortunately, what we have now is a problem because we have people on substance, and we need to get them off. So we have to work with the agencies involved with this type. I'm no expert, but we have agencies that do this work. We have to, as it were, round up as many. Now, you can't make the unwilling do what they don't want to do. But hopefully those that are willing, we work with them. We give them the support that they need to get their lives in order. And then we put them into jobs, find people in the community. This government coming now has to invest in our people. So all this money, that the inefficiency in government has to be cut out. And government, if you do that, government makes a lot of money. This country makes a lot of money. But we also spend a lot of money, and some of it needlessly, and in my opinion, kind of recklessly. We need to cut that out. We need to save our money and use it wisely. Invest in those people. And some of them are adults. I mean middle-aged people now too. We need to invest in them, retool them, get them off of the substance and put them to work. But as I said, the education system is where you start to stop them getting there in the first place. In relation to the question in mental illness with the HSA and all that, we know full well in this country that we simply don't have the facilities that we need for mental health. We have a lot of facilities. The HSA has had a critical care unit, as it were, for mental health for a long time an 8-bed unit. We increased it to 11 while I was chair. But that is acute care, I should say. That is not enough, unfortunately. Since COVID, the amount of mental health illness that we've seen in this country has exploded for various reasons. COVID didn't help, but the stress of life came on, and our young people feeling the pressures that they feel. We have the Alex Panton Foundation, and we have that located on campus at HSA. That is being utilized, well utilized. The acute care is there. We have now Ponciano, which has been opened up in East End, but we still, I find, we still have a need for a purpose-built facility, whether it's Ponciana being some parts of that being converted to more secure, because we only have, I think, two. When I did the opening up there, the tour, I think there's only 2 secure buildings, semi-secure buildings. For the amount of cases we have in this country, we need more. And the other thing is too, I want to see more Caymanians work in these facilities, because we know our people. We're going to take care of our people, to me, in a more heartfelt manner than somebody who's simply there to make a salary. We got to put Caymanians into jobs that are going to be meaningful and make sure that we are looking after our people. I totally support bringing back our people who are being housed overseas to Cayman, because that again was something that I spoke a lot about when I was minister, and making sure that we had the facility to take them back here, that you don't have to go and visit them in another country, or you don't know what's even going on with them. So I don't know how far they've reached. They were supposed to be brought back. Most of them were in Jamaica, but there were other places as well. I don't know how far we've reached with the transition of those folks back home, but it is a serious matter for us, because they are our people. They are our people, and with proper treatment, a lot of them can be back as productive citizens. We can't write off, because it affects all of us. So the HSA is doing all it can as a government entity, as a government company, but this is not just for the HSA. This is our mental health capacity in this entire island. And we have a lot of private businesses that are in this, and wellness centers and the like. The HSA does a tremendous job in this area and offer the therapeutic services that it does. But we have to work, not just government, but as a public-private partnership, to reduce the amount of mental illness and the treatment of mental illness to be at the very best level, and not just there for companies to make huge insurance claims and make money off these sick people. That we have to guard against, because trust me, there's a lot of abuse in that area as well. I know these things because of where I've been and what I've done. We have to understand, and we have to make sure that the facilities are fit for purpose, and we are there making sure that we get as many of our local people. And we have some wonderful therapists, Caymanian young therapists, that are functioning right now in our healthcare and in the government side. We need more, because unfortunately it is an area that is growing instead of being reduced at the moment.
All right, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you today?
Not bad. How you doing?
Good. Good morning, Mr. Bodden. How are you doing today? This is Jonathan out of Mr. Bodden.
Morning, John.
Morning, sir. Good to see you on, man. I'm glad that you're running again. The statement that you just made, Mr. Bodden, pertaining to introducing a purpose-built vocational and trade school in Cayman is something which heartens me to hear you say that, because I think it's been a dereliction of duty that over the last 30 years, Cayman has not had it implemented as a standalone part of the education system in Cayman. So I hope that y'all, if you get in, have success in that goal. It does stand to say, though, sir, that over the last decades, we have seen far too many youth leaving high school without basic numeracy and literacy skills.
Yes.
And that is something which not only has, in my humble opinion, been a dereliction of duty on behalf of the government, the Department of Education, and the
Yes,
Ministry.
John. I have to agree with you.
Zero accountability for that failure thus far. I hope to see a change in that regard in the Cayman Islands here in the next couple of years, and we really take that on as the dire necessity which it is to increase and bring up to an acceptable level literacy and numeracy with school leaving children.
Amen.
Amen, man, for real. Mr. Bodden, there's a question I have for you this morning, which I've seen and heard some talk about, and I've heard the question asked. But I would like to know, what have you formulated in your thought processes as solid ways for us here in Cayman to tackle the cost of living index? As of 2025, we have the third highest cost of living index on earth. And regardless of importation costs, we also have a government which is built upon largesse, and that is one of the things that increases our cost of living index because of the high duties that we pay. So that being stated, I would like to know, do you have solid ideas moving forward for us to address the issue of the cost of living here in the Cayman Islands? And what solutions, sir, do you see that we can strive to achieve that will help to reduce our cost of living index in the Cayman Islands? Because, we have this terminology that Cayman is tax-free, but in reality, we are not. We are tax-free for the uber rich, but it is certainly not tax-free for the lower and the middle class income brackets.
I don't think it's tax-free for anybody, but it's not direct taxation like maybe in their country. And I'll tell you what, I had an interesting conversation on Sunday with someone that I play pickleball with. They happened to be an attorney from another country, and they were saying that in their country, they said, they get it that people complain about the cost of living in Cayman, but they said a lot of times the issue is Caymanians have no point of reference because they're coming from Canada where 70% of what they made was paid back by way of taxes. So they're like, yes, we might pay more for goods and services, but it's nowhere near 70% of what I make. So they're like, because Cayman doesn't have a direct taxation system, people don't understand the economy of how all of this works. They said, if you want to be taxed 70% on what you make and then have things lower in cost, and you think that, you're getting away with it because, it's lower, your mortgage is lower, maybe your utilities are lower, but you're still paying the government 70%. If you guys are okay with that, then let's do it. But for them, they're like, part of this is educating the Caymanian people. Nobody's saying it's cheap to live here, but by comparison, even countries like Canada, if you took into account the taxation level that they're having to pay, they're like, the cost of living is not more expensive in Cayman than Canada. But when people have this conversation and they talk about it, they don't talk about the taxation element. But you got to pay your taxes or you end up in jail. So that's part of the cost of living.
I'm not taking Canada's economic model as something to be pursued in any stretch of the mind.
Which country would you like to take?
I say we take our own standards and apply them. We don't have to copy other people. I think what we do need to do, though, is work towards making our governmental operations as efficient as possible, as unwasteful as possible, and make it less easy for the system itself to be used for personal enrichment by those within the system or those outside of the system itself, that where people collude with each other to take advantage illegitimately and unduly of the taxpayers' funds for their own enrichment. And this is something that does certainly happen here in Cayman. That's my point as it pertains to increasing efficiency, increasing accountability, and increasing transparency as it pertains to the government, aka the Cayman Islands people's public coffers and the use of it, which I think, I don't know if you would agree with me, but I think there is a lack of transparency and a lack of accountability in this regard. There's a lot of back scratching that goes on. And we, the people of the Cayman Islands, the taxpayers, we pay the price for it. And it's something which needs to be addressed and rectified. So the question, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Bodden. I would like to know what your thoughts are on the subject, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. I'll try my best to answer my thoughts. All right.
Thank you very much, caller. Mr. Ozzy.
Okay, Sandy. Thanks, John, for those very insightful questions. Cost of living is one of our 5 main issues that, as a party, we have taken on and try and come up with the best suggestions and answers for. Is a difficult one because cost of living is dictated largely by where we source products from. As we know, we are an import jurisdiction. So everything, we're also a service jurisdiction. The only thing we sell is services. Now, we rely on the US for 90% of our goods. The US prices are going up, ours are going up, I can assure you. And we've already started to see it on the shelves. So that is a problem for us. I want to say first and foremost that I support an increase in the minimum wage. Hands down, the party supports an increase in the minimum wage. That's the first thing. The other ideas that we have is the alternative sourcing of goods from overseas. It doesn't have to be the USA. We have Mexico, we have Belize, we have Honduras, and we have other areas in Central America that I believe are willing and able to provide us with food as well as other goods. I know for a fact that Belize actually has ships that are ready to sail to Cayman with goods if we were so inclined. Honduras also has ships, but not ships, but boats more that we call not really big ships. But we need to look and correspond with those people and see exactly what agreements and put the right protection mechanisms in place, because of course people are going to say, oh, quality and this and that is not FDA approved, blah blah blah. There's other ways for us to protect ourselves from what is imported here. That can drive down the cost of goods in this country on the shelf that will directly impact the average family in a tremendous way, is my belief. When you have products that go from south to north and come back south for consumption, it is only natural that costs are being added along both journeys, and you are paying that added inflation when you go to the store. If we can cut that out, as it were, cut out the middleman and deal directly with these markets, I believe we can bring costs down. Fuel hedging is another one. Fuel right now is a large part because we depend largely on fuel for power companies and everyday living. If we can do some hedging of fuel purchasing, that is, you forward buy at better prices and have that ability to consume that fuel at a lower cost later on, that will also bring down the price of fuel at the pump. Our prices are extremely high. I own a gas station. I don't make a lot on fuel. It is made by the people that bring the fuel here. That needs to be controlled. We need to know exactly what they're paying for their fuel. Right now, we are being customs duty, as far as I understand, is being charged on volume. And this is something my colleague Robert talks about a lot because he's a former custom officer. And he says that we need to get that down to the unit cost, that we know exactly what prices are being paid so that we can say this is a fair price to the consumer. We need a consumer protection act in this country. We have everything else, but we do not have a rental commission, nor do we have a consumer protection act. I believe that those two agencies could serve a really, really important purpose in this country to control some of the abuses that take place. Because let's face it, people are unscrupulous. They charge ridiculous markups. They charge high rents, and you can't do anything about them. They give you substandard living. This all affects the quality of life in Cayman. Cost of living is what really drives us into despair at times, and where people are having to judge, well, should I pay my CUC this month or my water this month, or should I put food on the table? They're telling me I need to eat healthy, but I can't afford those healthy foods. So my health is going to decline. I'm going to buy the cheap stuff. We have to look at where our duty lies on healthy goods. We have to reduce that. Let the healthy stuff be cheaper, not more expensive. You know, you talk organic, you talk price. So all this government has to look at. We have a ton of issues facing us, but it's not for the faint of heart. It's going to take people that understand and people who are willing and have the guts to deal with it, because we're going to have to make some decisions that are going to upset a few people. The status quo is going to change. And if we are not prepared to do that, then I say it's best we stay home, because this is a time that it takes strong leaders, people who are deeply committed, who care for these country and its people, and do the right thing. There are other things that we can do. We can increase agricultural production, support our farmers more, support more backyard farming, because people will tell you, oh, they would be willing if they could get more support to the technology. And we have young people in this country right now that are doing hydroponic farming. Now, I don't know much about that stuff, but this is stuff where you're growing beautiful products without soil. And you have young people that are in that business and they're not being supported by the government. Or they're having to beg for people to even come and understand what they're doing and give them that moral support even. So we have to start thinking outside of the box, making sure that everything we do from here on is for the benefit of the Caymanian people. Hence, we have the Caymanian Community Party, because we feel strongly that if we can build stronger communities and allow our people to have a better quality of life, that we will have a better country at the end of the day. It only stands to reason that if your components are healthy and good, the whole will be healthy and good. Therefore, I say, let's work together. Let's break up some of the monopolies. Now, we know we have electrical providers that are monopolies here and in the Bronx. We have to support them in terms of renewable energy. We have to get a lot more renewable energy in this country. I just saw last night where the Minister for Northside put up something that is going on, and it's a CNN article actually, where landfills can be used for solar energy farms. Well, we have the perfect Mount Crashmore for that. Again, that can produce a lot of electricity. We have a lot of sunlight in this country. That's one thing we're not short of. Let's embrace renewable energy.
I think I lost you a little bit there. I think his internet might have frozen up a little bit. Ozzy, you still with me? Hi, Ozzy. All right, let me see if I can.
I think we got lost for a bit.
Yes, there we are. Yeah, the internet seemed to have frozen a little bit.
I stopped talking when I saw the circles going around. So I was saying, let's embrace renewable energy. Let's embrace recycling.
Yes.
Let us help our people help themselves. When we're talking about government homes and all that stuff, let's build them not to a poor standard. Don't set the people up to fail. Let's give them good homes with good insulation. Let's put solar panels. Let's put hurricane shutters, that we reduce the cost to these people that are needy in the first place, because they came looking a government home because they couldn't afford it on their own. Let's take this money that we've been giving away in concessions to big wealthy investors who go on to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Let's stop that nonsense. Take that money and put it into our people in our community. Then you will say you are here for the Caymanian people. You have brought down the cost of living. You have given them something to live for. I want to throw out an idea, Sandy, and this one is a new idea. I want everybody to buy into it, because if they do, it will happen. Why can't our financial services industry operate in the format like an Expedia.com, where you have a virtual marketplace, and you're looking alone, Sandy, or you're looking some other financial service, and they enter this virtual marketplace and they compete for your business. It will drive their costs down. I promise you. Competition drives costs down. And they will then, all the money transfers and the banks and everybody else get into this virtual marketplace. And whatever you want to name it, but you can say that, or just say that, and let's create it. Let's work with government to make this a reality. And let's compete for this business, because let's face it, banks in this country make a ton of money, Sandy. We are paying everywhere we turn. We have another bank fee. I'm paying to deposit my money now, for a business.
And let me say this, Ozzy, that's such a great idea. And let me actually say this. You see, this is where Caymanians also don't understand the power that they have of even negotiating with the banks. For example, when I got a loan from CNB, I went back to them and said, listen, when we were looking at this property, the realtor said, if we go to one of our competitors, y'all know I love CNB, they give me excellent service. I said, but they told me if I went to this competitor would give me this preferential rate with these terms. And CNB said, okay, let us get back to you. They went and spoke to management, and they came back and counter offered. So it is a relationship where you
often we grab we're so happy to get it that we grab the first thing that's given to us. But insurance companies and banks, we got to shop around. Say, no, I'm not paying. What is this fee for again? No, I'm sorry. I'm getting it for free over here. I'm not going to pay you. They will come down.
And I remember as COVID
gets me, they hit us so hard, and then at the end of the year, they boast these huge profits. It can't be right. You're riding on the backs of Caymanians.
Exactly. And I literally, as COVID hit, I said, oh man, here goes interest rates. And I ran to CNB real quick and I said, listen, I want to lock in my interest rate because I thought the market was going to start fluctuating. Well, lo and behold, it held until we started to come out of COVID. And then it was so funny because I think I locked it in for 2 years because they don't do long-term, fixed rates. I locked it in for 2 years. And the month that they came and said, what do you want to do? Do you want to lock it in again? I said, I said, nothing's happened. Maybe I made a miscalculation. I think that was like the May or the June. And then by July, it started to increase. I ran back to CNB and I said, I need to lock it in again. And they allowed me to do so. So people, talk to your banks, negotiate with them. A lot of them will be willing to listen to you because guess what? If you move your mortgage, that's somebody else who's going to be getting interest off of you for 15, 20, 30 years. And that's a lot. It's a lot of money. So as long as but you can't come with bad credit and think you can negotiate with a bank. You got to show that you have a history of paying your bills, paying on time, et cetera, but they will work with you. Good morning, caller.
Remember, folks, the virtual marketplace for financial services, and it will make a difference. You can tell them Ozzy said it on CMR, and Ozzy also mentioned it briefly on the forum. It is something that we need to seriously consider. It's many components to helping our people, but that's just one out of the box idea that I think we could really follow. Sunday, I actually am going to have to scoot because I have a 10 o'clock important that I cannot miss. But before I go, of course, I need to talk about tomorrow night. And praying that my cousin Robert will be fit and able to join me. So we're going to have a huge rally tomorrow night. We're bringing the East and West together for the first time. It's at the park in Northward, at the entrance of Northward. It's a small area in terms of a meeting space, but I believe that we need to send a clear message that we're going to ram the place. We're going to ram the road. The RCIP is going to be out to assist us. We're going to make sure it's well organized. We have security. We have everything in place. We have dynamic speakers. We have, you're going to hear from Liani from the youth chapter. You're going to hear from our leader at the end of the night before we close. We're going to have refreshments, good stuff to enjoy. You're going to have good music, entertainment. We want the folks in Bodden Town East and Bodden Town West to get together on the boundary. That's the only boundary that we have, so that's where we had to have it. And let's make it happen. My rally, my finale rally is going to be in another location on the 29th of April, but that's a ways down. But as well as this rally, we have another one on the weekend for the Savannah Newlands folks, and that's going to be down at the next to the ICCI College. That they have a lot more room there and much more conducive to a large crowd. But what I would say, encourage the people that coming out tomorrow night is that don't try to just all pile up in terms of cars by the entrance. There's a lot of subdivisions around here, entrances, mine included, that you can drive into and leave your car, and it's a short walk back to the park. So let's go into Corella, let's go into Doubloon Drive, let's come into Arrow Drive and go down into Northward. And the good thing is we have wide shoulders coming down after Northward, head into town, so you can fill up those shoulders. The RCIP is going to be up there to make sure nobody does anything silly. We're going to have a huge turnout. I'm convinced of that. People want to see us, they want to hear us, and they want to have the Boddens back in Bodden Town. So I know that is upsetting some people, and as a result, they're lashing out at us. But you're still our friends. We're all Caymanians. We have to work together and live together. You can have a different viewpoint, but it doesn't make you my enemy. It's only if you physically harm me that's going to make, or harm my family, that's going to make you my enemy. So you have no problem saying bad things about us and smiling at me later on when you see me, because I know you're going to do that. Keep on doing that. Have your point of view, but you don't have to go in the gutter. Let's show. Remember, it's only about 30,000 of us, and the other 50 or 60,000 people in Cayman really didn't start here. Let's remember that them people that come here and work permits, they look at us sometimes and they're laughing because they're saying, "Wow, look at how they're caring on one another." Let's not be like that.
Yeah.
Let's show Cayman, the Cayman people and the Cayman people that visit this island, that we are united in what we are trying to achieve. Yes, you may be a different party, you may have a different viewpoint, but at the end of the day, we are fighting for one cause. We are trying to do it. We are going to cut out special interests and don't allow them to dictate government policy and government actions from here on. Let's work together as Caymanians. You have parliament, naturally it's adversarial. You have the government, you have the opposition, but that is to keep in check. That doesn't mean that you don't go and have lunch in the lunchroom afterwards together, or you go in the parking lot and talk. That's the way it works. So please do not make enemies. Do not make politics make enemies of us. Let's be united. Let's unite. Let's really work to build our communities, regardless of the color, creed, or nationality. Let's work together. Let's build a better Cayman Islands for all, for us to enjoy who are from here, and for those who come to join us, and for those who visit us to enjoy the country. Let's show that we can do this without violence. We can do this in harmony. Please, I beg you. So please come out tomorrow night. Please support me and Robert and the TCCP party. We're going to have a nice evening of entertainment. There are a few speeches, not long, boring speeches. We're going to keep it lively. It's a rally. It's coming down the stretch. It's 28 days to go. And you know what to do when you get to the polls on April 30th. You know who to vote for. Let's put the Boddens back in Bodden Town.
Thank you so much, Ozzy. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Sandy.
All right. We do have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning, dear.
Good morning to Ozzy. Sorry that he had to go, because I wanted to just say a few things in regards to his conversation about importing and doing business with our neighboring countries.
Well, I'm
Sandra,
I'm sure he'll be back. I don't know if you want to save it until the next time he's back on, but you know,
it doesn't matter really, because it's not something that I want to direct to Ozzy.
Okay.
Just Ozzy. It's for the whole Cayman Islands.
Yes, sir.
I've been doing this analyzation for more than 20 years, Sandra. And I say this because I have some vested interest in Honduras. I have a daughter that was born in Honduras. And so I was just referring back to when it started happening, you know, on visits to Honduras, that I would remember in the mornings, early mornings, people are coming by selling their products, you know, by whatever means they have, back of a truck. And there are tons and tons of produce, stuff that we consume on a daily basis. Example, oranges, bananas, pineapples, that sort of stuff. So because of knowing and seeing how inexpensive those things were in that country, I tried to get something like that implemented here, started here. A little over 15 years ago, I went to the agriculture department. They told me, no, it can't be done. We have a ban on the country because of some pink mealybug and some other excuses. Sandra, this is stuff that I went to the agriculture department with because I saw the need. I don't even have words to explain. I can only give you an example, Sandra.
And I mean, is there any way to address, I mean, obviously these are concerns. We've seen even importing containers from the US. Gosh, we had two stowaway, what are they called again? Oh Lord, what was the little critters that stowed away the other day and they had to chase them down? Remember in the Foster's container, they carry rabies.
I remember about them. I just don't know the name of them.
I can't remember. Yeah, somebody help me out in the comment section here. But anyway, so there are concerns about pests coming in, about drugs coming in, about all these other things. But, you know, raccoons, thank you, callers. Yes, thank you, Michael. Yeah, is there anyone that can speak to how we can still import, but import safely?
Sandra, there's a process that you have to go through in importing stuff to the Cayman Islands. I started to bring in shrimps and seafoods a little over 13 years ago. And while I was doing it, the process was that you had to go through the doctors, the veterinarians in Honduras, have them inspect the stuff properly before it could come to the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands Agriculture Department and Veterinarian Association, they had to give a permit for approval from the people that you are buying from over there. So it's not just like, you know, you can just go and pick it up and bring it back here. It's a process that goes through. And
well, it sounds like the process isn't in place for vegetables and stuff like that. So we just need to figure the process out. But you see, this is where the difference now comes in with the MPs versus the departments and the civil servants that run the service. So the ministers can be in favor of this all they want, but if the Department of Agriculture says no because they don't have the process, then there's always going to be this stopgap situation. So we need to be calling on who is head of the Department of Agriculture these days anyway?
I am not 100% sure on that person right now.
Guy, and then I haven't heard who they replaced him with. So obviously, I think this is something now that we need to press the Agriculture Department to really get on top of.
I agree. I give you a little short example of what I'm talking about in regards to cost. Sandra, in Foster's, a bag of 12 oranges is costing almost $9. Some instances, $7. That's 12 oranges. What we refer to back in the day in Cayman as the onion sack, which we used to get from Jamaica, 100 oranges comes in that sack. Sandra, believe it or not, 100 limpiras, which is equivalent now to a little under $6 US. And things like that is what I've been trying to get approvals for us to be able to go back and do trade with those people, Honduras, Jamaica, our neighbors. Those are the people that we know from the beginning. Those are the people we were governing. Everybody knows in Cayman that we were governing Jamaica. We were spending Jamaica's money and that sort of stuff. So why can't we get trade reopened between those countries?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm all in favor of it. I'm just saying, just make sure that the checks and balances and the correct safety measures are there, because we also have to admit that all of these countries, including the US, we've seen people trying to sneak guns in containers and refrigerators. All of these countries pose risk to our security and our health, but in different ways. So let's make it happen, but fix whatever the hiccup is. There has to be a way to address it. But caller, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We just need to prioritize it. Thanks again, my dear.
Okay.
All right, my dear. So yeah, I mean, we need to prioritize it, folks. All right, listen. We got an interesting show scheduled for you tomorrow. Hopefully, we got some special guests coming on the program. I think you guys will want to tune in early to make sure that you get to hear some of that. This person says, "Is not caller running for office?" I didn't recognize the voice, so I have no idea who that gentleman is. But I mean, if he's running for office, I think we all agree that it's a good idea. It's just that we need to make sure that the system is tight. Okay. We know Honduras is one of the capitals of the world for all sorts of serious crime. So if we're going to do trade and business with them, let's make sure that we're not importing things that we do not want to import. I'm just saying some of these countries are involved in human trafficking and all sorts of other stuff. So the solutions are there. But what I would say is the solutions might not be as easy to implement as you think, but that does not mean that they're not implementable. That doesn't mean that we can't do it. So, let's start working the logistics of these things out. And you also have to be careful because one of the things with some of these countries is they themselves don't have rules and regulations in their own country in terms of like pesticide use and whatever. They don't have agencies that we trust. Most of us trust the FDA. Well, maybe not anymore now that Trump is disarming everybody, but most of us kind of trust the FDA. We know that they tend to look out for consumers because the US is a very litigious society. They'll get sued by people who in the past have drank water that was bad for them and they got sued and all this kind of stuff. So yes, I mean, let's talk about the logistics of some of these things. And if they don't have an agency that can ensure the safety of their products coming this way, then that means that we have to do it. And to be fair to the Department of Agriculture, I think that is where, they try to pick up the slack and where they know there are some potential concerns. So at Tavis, Walter says, yes, Ozzy. The youth must have a seat at the table. They bring a different perspective to key and national issues. As you rightfully stated, they must be able to serve on government boards, councils, etc. And of course, this is coming from Tavis, who himself, as a young Caymanian, was serving alongside Mr. Ozzy on the HSA board. So Tavis has experience as a youth who has served and under Ozzy's championship at the HSA. So, going back to Elizabeth's point, there are lots of ways in which young people can serve, in which they can step up to the plate, but they themselves have to be willing to do so. There's only so many seats available for people in the, in cabinet. That's only like one position. Not everybody can get that position. And I dare say that they're going to put people in that position who are, trusted, have shown a track record of being trustworthy and that they can work with these individuals. The funny thing about relationships, right, is relationships just don't happen overnight. Do we not? We know this, right? We know that it takes a minute for people to get to know each other. It takes a minute for trust to develop between individuals, especially on the political front, right? Because all sorts of things happen, folks. And I can tell you from my personal experiences, politics, even when you're in parties, can be a very, very nasty game, very, very cutthroat and whatever. Everybody's vying for something. And so people have to show their steadfastness. I don't know if that's right. That's not a word. I'm not even sure. But they have to show that they're steadfast within organizations. So you can't have someone jumping from, she gave the example of Heyman Rankin. That's probably not the best example. But you can't have someone jumping from CINP and think that TCCP is going to elevate them and put them in cabinet and all this kind of stuff. TCCP already has young people. They have a youth arm. They have Leanna Tibbetts and other young people who are already in there working with them, who are proving themselves to be loyal to the ideals of that organization. So they would promote and push those people. Anyone who's running for public office now that doesn't get in, and that's going to be a lot of people. Can somebody do the math real quick for me? I used to like my other keyboard because they had a calculator shortcut button. So we have 59 people running, only 19 seats, right? So we have 40 people that are definitely not going to get in, okay? Those 40 people, if they are serious, if they're young people and they're serious about a political career, they will do what they have to do in the next 4 to 8 years. They should look at their shortcomings. And this is where, as candidates, you have to be honest with yourselves. Why didn't you get in? Why were you not ready? Although you sound good, the lack of experience, the lack of a degree, the lack of this, the lack of that. You yourself have an opportunity now to fix those things. It's nobody else's job to fix it for you. Oh, people are criticizing you. Well, you sound okay, but you've never really had a real job. You live at home with your mama. You've worked in the family business. How about you go out there and get a degree? Do it. 4 years is plenty of time to get a degree. Go out there and demonstrate to people that you are serious about learning the ropes and preparing yourself for the job. Oh, it's 58 now. Thank you so much. So it's 39 people that definitely will not be getting in. So that's what I say. Go out there and prepare yourselves. You guys can do it, right? You have every opportunity to do so. That is on you. It's nobody else's job. Hello? Hello? I can't hear you. All right. I can't hear you, honey child. It's nobody else's job to prepare you. You're the one who wants the job. So go out there and do what you got to do. Let me just see here now. So that is what my recommendation would be. It's not for Ozzy to say that he's going to train anybody, I think, or any other candidate for that matter. They're going to be busy out there not training people, but trying to work for us, the people who put them there. They have a job to do. And if parties are sensible, they will also find themselves in a position where they have a youth arm, where they are, training people, where they're investing in their own candidates, even when they are not successful. And so, there's a lot to be said for that as well. And that's their responsibility. No other party is going to take that up for them. It is what it is. All right. So, try to focus on your own development in life. I think that is so critically important. And Dan Scott is partner. He was partner at a institution. He has a history of taking on Caymanians within his accounting firm. Demonstrate now in the political arena as well. I'm just saying. Do that despite the fact that you may not be successful. So it is what it is. How many more days we got, honey child? 38 days, 39 days. Let me check my little CMR countdown calendar here. We have 27 days, 21 hours, 19 minutes, and 20 seconds. Woohoo! Big news this morning. Please join the CMR WhatsApp channel, or, that's the best way to get all the news because we send it there first and foremost. The judge has frozen the Conservation Council's powers pending a judicial review. So in a significant legal development, a Grand Court judge has temporarily suspended the National Conservation's authority to make decisions until a hearing next month determines whether a judicial review will proceed regarding the cabinet's controversial appointments to the council. Folks, this is your UPM government. I want you to go and take a very close look at every single one of them. They did this. They agreed to change out the National Conservation Council, and several of those people challenged that decision. And now, ahead of that potential judicial review moving forward, the courts have said nobody does nothing. Everything is at a standstill. There will be no decisions. So they're not going to be pushing any roads through without an EIA. They're not going to be doing anything until the legal process moves forward. So there's a bit of a freezing order, if you will, that has been put in place. And I think I agree with this as the way forward on this matter. The government thinks they're smart. They think the people of this country will not stand up to them. And I'm so glad the people that challenge them, and now they're going to see that you can't do wrong. I'm sorry, but you cannot do wrong and expect good to come of it. It will never, ever work. Okay? So the Caymanians, listen to me carefully. Thank you for standing up when you do. So many times we need to stand up more often. But thank you when you do. This is the proof that the governments, I don't care who's in power, cannot do what they want against the people of this country. We have a recourse. The judicial system is there to challenge them. So I'm glad that they have decided to stand up. Way to go. Now we'll see what the outcome of this is. Even up to yesterday, I saw them making board changes and appointments with 27 days left to go. Why are they even doing any of this? Only God knows, right? Do something and stand up. My apologies. I didn't recognize that young man's voice. I don't really know him, but he has identified himself as Tyree Hernandez, and he's running for Georgetown West. So I don't know the voice, so I didn't know who he was. So thanks for those of you, I guess, who recognize the voice. All right. So at the end of the day, folks, I got to end the show. But we got lots of things going on around here. 2025 is going to be an amazing year for CMR in particular. We've got a lot of things in the pipeline for you. I'm not giving it all away, but I do want you to tune into tomorrow's program, because I can tell you what, we will continue to be on the forefront of breaking news for this country, at the forefront of being your voice in media. And we got you back. And to the people who don't like us, we got your back too. You're a K-Man, and we are here for you. So, it is what it is. So thank you guys so much for your continued contributions. You guys keep us in a loop with a lot of things that are happening in the community, and there's a lot that's brewing. Sometimes I can't always say something about some of the things I have because I have to wait for them to progress a certain stage. But nonetheless, you know that we got our ears to the ground and we know a lot about what's happening. So tomorrow we've got some special guests on. I do want you guys to tune in because it's going to be a very, very important conversation. If we can confirm the guests, I think that they're just organizing themselves. So please do tune in early and we'll continue. We do need to have a discussion on the other two questions that are on the referendum, and we're going to make time. I'm trying to get a panel of people together. We are going to make some time for some of those discussions as well. So please continue to stay tuned there also. All right. Please have yourselves a safe and beautiful Wednesday. I think I'm supposed to have class this afternoon. Oh my God. My school work has been suffering because of this election, and that's no excuse. Trust me. I need to get caught up on some of my school work. So I need to get my butt in gear. No excuses. But anyway, I trust that Marshall says, trust me, they like you on the DL. I'm their sneaky link, Marshall. You know how everybody's had maybe a girlfriend or boyfriend in your lifetime that you didn't want people to know that you were like really into that person, or your friends didn't like that person, so you were kind of sneaking around with them. They're your sneaky link. That's probably how it is, Marshall. That's why they always be here and trying to watch us anyway. But thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the haters. They motivate you in the mornings to get up and just continue working. Anyway, thank you guys very, very much. Please have yourselves a safe day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Good evening. My name is Romelia Welcome, candidate for Georgetown North. It has come to my attention of all the garbage and dirt that was out here by property next to Lobster Pot, which I believe is owned by government. I quickly got a group of youngsters together, and they were so eager to help me. So here we are.
I would like to say thank you for helping us clean up the community. We are very thankful and very grateful for this opportunity. We also collected about 16 to 20 garbages. It's very helpful for us to be youngsters to help older. So thank you for helping us, Ms. Romero.
You're most welcome. It's my pleasure to work with youngsters as you guys. All clean. This is all clean. This is proving stable leadership.
Georgetown South, your voice matters. I'm Alric Lindsay, and I'm inviting you to join me for an important public meeting this Thursday, April 3rd from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the C3 parking lot on Walker's Road. This is your opportunity to raise community concerns, discuss national issues, and ask the questions that matter most to you and your family. With experience in accounting, law, and on various government boards, I bring a balanced, hard-working approach to leadership, one that's committed to real results for the Caymanian people. Let's talk solutions. Let's shape our future together. Make the right choice on April 30th. Come out, be heard, and vote smart. Vote for Alric Lindsay for Georgetown South. For more information, visit alric4cayman.com or call 345-926-1688.
My name is Deborah Susan Ebanks, and I met Ralston in 2009. That's when he was elected as Minister of Education, and that was my first encounter with him. One of the things that I thought most admirable about Ralston would be that he's not a talker, he's a doer. So take for example, we have issues with parents who are having issues with their children in schools versus teachers. Instead of having chief officers speak to those parents, he would have those parents come into his office and he would meet with them personally. He was one of the first ministers that I knew of that was very involved in all PTA meetings. He went to the public schools. He made sure things were implemented that had not been implemented before. He has a list that would take the rest of the afternoon for me to speak of his achievements during my tenure in the ministry with him. He was a mover and a shaker. He made a big, big difference. And under that leadership, I gained a lot of respect for him. When he declared for West Bay North, I was approached by him and he asked if I would endorse him, which I told him yes. And I would encourage the people of West Bay North to vote for him, to vote for Ralston Malachi Anglin, or as some people say, Raleigh. He is the best education minister we ever had. Hands down. Hands down.
When we were growing up, things were different. We were a tight-knit community. Family lived close by. Neighbors took care of neighbors. But slowly, things changed. Now, it's all slipping away. Cayman is growing too fast, and too many Caymanians are being left behind. We are losing not just our islands, but our way of life. Costs are skyrocketing. Food, medicines, health insurance, housing. Families are struggling to afford basic needs. Today, we Caymanians are a minority in our own country. We learned some hard truths. We saw up close how special interests can control our country. We try to stand up for what is right, to stand up for our community, and to stand on principle. Sadly, there were too few of us. Enough is enough. That's why we're coming together with people that share our values to form the Caymanian Community Party. This isn't about politics as usual. It's about people. We are a movement built by Caymanians, for Caymanians, and focused on strengthening our Caymanian community. Caymanians deserve the opportunity to vote for a party with a clear set of values and ideals. A party that listens to their voices, represents their values, and stands united in advancing their interests. It's time to make the tough decisions to reclaim the Cayman Islands we all love. We support growth, but it needs to be balanced. We stand for a strong economy. We stand for making sure Caymanians come first in our own country, where every Caymanian now and in the future can afford a home. We stand for fiercely protecting our Caymanian culture, our heritage, our quality of life, and our natural environment. This means addressing the cost of living by transitioning to clean energy, building efficient, affordable homes, and lowering the cost of health insurance. It means transforming our children's education so they can get the jobs they deserve in a rapidly changing world. It means a strong, stable government that gets things done and is committed to fiscal responsibility, good governance, and sustainability. We believe in the power of community to create meaningful change that benefits our people. Join us. We are the Caymanian Community Party, putting Caymanians first.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.